the reason why I brought this up, have you heard of the Islamic dilemma?
Sorry, I meant to mute my mic and I accidentally muted yours.
You are good. You are good.
There's no
Have you
such
heard?
there's no such thing as the Islamic dilemma. It's a very
Okay.
weak argument. But I mean, you can I guess
Try it.
believe or buy into that.
Okay.
I just think it's ironic because I think that within your doctrine, if anything, I just feel like Christian doctrine is not logical at all and isn't.
Yeah. Let's try to talk about Islam for a little bit, and then we can go into Christian and all that, right? So basically, the Islamic dilemma is like the Quran confirming the previous scripture, as in Surah, the verse that I just pulled up, confirming what was before it. So since it's talking about book and truth, we will assume that it's talking about confirming other book and truth. And then it goes on to say he revealed the Torah and the gospel, which are books that are confirmed, right? Not the prophet, not what was revealed to the prophet, the books which was revealed to the prophets. So since it's talking about the book, saying that, okay, we confirm the book, the Torah and the gospel, would you expect it to align with those books? I mean myself too.
What would I expect what to align with what?
The Quran, right? Since it's confirming the books that was revealed before it, would you expect it, confirm meaning, yeah, it's valid,
Okay,
saying that
well,
it's true, would you expect it to go along with those books?
it's not as clear cut
Why not?
as you're asking. Because, for example, we know that there are different. Okay, so what you're talking about is, so we as Muslims, we know that there have been other prophets and they came with scripture. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to determine whether those scriptures are in their original form based off of the current Bible or Bible versions that you have today, that's where the problem lies.
Okay. So in other words, you're trying to say that the Bible that we have today is not really the true Bible, but, right? If I'm understanding you.
So what is the Bible?
The Bible is it means books, right? That's I'm trying to remember if it's from Greek or Aramaic, but it's Biblia, which means books. That's what it means, books, right? So it's different book from different author across the time period of over.
It's gonna be from Koine Greek.
Okay, yeah, Biblia or something like that, right? Which just means book. So the authors, what you would call the prophets, that's what they wrote. And then we also have the gospel, the Psalms, the Proverbs, all in there, right? They're all books. We have the Torah in the Bible. We have the gospel in the Bible. We have the Psalms of David in the Bible. We have Proverbs of Solomon in the Bible. That's what the Bible is. So now, going back to the question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going back to the question, since it the verse is saying confirm the book,
You're
the God, the line with the gospel and the Torah.
you're kind of cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Would you expect it to align with the other book?
I think I already answered that question, but
No,
So I asked you.
sorry, I didn't hear it.
Okay. So I asked you a question right now. I asked you, and you're going back to your previous
Can you hear me
question that
now?
you. I think you can't hear me. I think your connection is
Yeah,
bad.
I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you, but you can't hear me because you keep on asking, "Can you hear me?"
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Your
me now?
your connection is poor right now. It shows like a red bar when you're okay.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is I asked you a specific question. I asked you to tell me what the Bible is.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of a sort of it's sort of kind
No,
of
no. Sorry to cut you off, right? And I'm not asking to confirm the Bible. No, leave the Bible. I'm talking about the Torah and the Gospel,
no,
right?
no, no, no. But wait,
According
wait.
to the verse.
Wait. Let's go step by step because you
Okay.
spoke at length. I allowed you to explain to me what you say the Bible is.
Okay.
And it wasn't a satisfactory answer. I take an issue with your answer. With with
Why
with
not? Why?
with well, if you allow me, I'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I take an issue with your response. So I'm trying to correct your or trying to simplify. So for me, an acceptable answer for you when I asked you what is the Bible, for me, an acceptable answer would be to say the Bible is a compilation of many books that have been gathered over time,
That's what
that
I
are
said.
that are connected to previously revealed scripture. It's a compilation. That's basically what the Bible is, with different books. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, depending on what Bible version you're talking about, it can have more books or it can have less books. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, that's what it is. And so when you take that into consideration in the grand scheme of things, that is important. Why is it important? Because that means it is a book, it is a compilation of many books that
Mm.
have been gathered from different sources, from different times, in different languages, with
Yeah.
different, that have been authored by different individuals. So, do you see how? Because even if we're talking about like current times, and even if we're talking about like, let's say, for example, we need to dive into literature, right?
Mm.
Um, and if we're looking at a compilation of various works, various scholarly works, the more the more authors it has, the more with, for example, like with unknown, for example, first-hand accounts or primary sources. I mean, that's kind of an issue.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to point out that why the Bible is, for me and for many Muslims, it's like a problematic scripture that we don't necessarily believe. Now, does the Bible contain books that were previously revealed scriptures that prophets brought that have truth in it? Yes, of course. But the reality is that it's a big compilation. We don't know where certain things come from. We actually even have like major gaps in the time of when, like, for example, if you want to talk about certain books or certain chapters or whatever, and it's claiming that these things took place or Jesus said such and such, but then there's a huge gap between when this text was actually recovered or found, and there's a huge gap between this time, or you have an author that isn't connected to the time when Jesus was alive. That's a big problem. that's
Okay.
that's a major
Can
discrepancy there.
can I
So
answer?
we
Can I?
don't so this is why I'm trying to explain that Muslims, we don't believe the Bible to be 100%. Is there some truth in it? Yes, of course.
Okay.
But is it untampered with? Is it authentic? Are all the sources, can they be traced to authentic? sources. You're not looking at it in the Hebrew, in the Greek. That's not what you're looking at. You are looking at these scriptures through the lens of your book, which is the Bible.
To Muhammad, should it align with the Torah and the Gospel, not the Bible? Those are different. The Torah itself is different, right? I don't know if you heard about the Dead Sea Scrolls, but we found that
Yes.
which date back to a long time ago, and it basically goes with what's in the Torah. So I'm asking, should it align with the Torah and the Gospel? It's a yes or no question. Should it align? Yes? No.
The message,
not the Bible.
The message, the message should align in terms of, again, what was originally in the revealed scriptures. There are some laws that probably applied to specific people or for specific people at that time that might not necessarily be applicable today. But generally speaking, yes, the message should be consistent. Now, what is the message that we are saying or we believe that should be consistent? That would be the message of monotheism. So
Okay.
I can ask you the same thing as a Christian. Should the Bible, should the books that you as a Christian emphasize, because we all know all Christians from different denominations have certain specific books and go to very specific chapters and verses to emphasize their beliefs,
Yeah. And the Bible. Now I'll bring the Bible.
should these be consistent with
Yes.
with the Torah? Should they be consistent with the Torah?
Yes. Here's why.
Yes, they should. But why? So then why then do Christians, the concept of God when it comes to Christians, why do they deviate from the original scriptures then? Why is there this idea of a triune God, and it's not consistent with the earlier scriptures before that, which is why Jewish people do not believe in a triune God. And by the way, Muslims do not either. If anything, it's the Christians that are in deviation.
Okay. Can I please answer you?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's have a dialogue, not a monologue where you're like just talking 5 minutes and at a time, and now only get like 30 seconds. One, we believe in the same thing that is in the Torah, right? Whereas Moses said, God is your father in Deuteronomy 32 verse 6, right? And if you read the Old Testament, which is before Jesus Christ, it talks about, like, it shows how God has decided to reveal himself, right? Through his son. That's what we go with, right? God revealed himself in various ways. And if you read the Torah, you're going to see aspects of the Trinity. Like if you read in Genesis, it says the Spirit of God was hovering above the water. There was God the Father. And then he also goes on to say, let's make mankind in our image. So now, if it's talking about let's make mankind in our image, who is there that he is referring to, right? That's things like that we look at and say, okay, God is a triune God. Why? Because in Genesis, it shows the Spirit of God hovering above the water, and it also says, let's make mankind in our image. Now, if you know anything about the English language, when we say our, it's plural, so it's not just one person. Otherwise, he would have said, let me make mankind in my image, right? So that's the message. Now, going back to the previous scripture, we align with it, whereas in Deuteronomy, which is in the Torah, 32 verse 6, Moses referred to God as the Father. Now, you guys also come and say God is not the Father. So that's my question. If we're aligned with the same message, what does the prophet say God cannot be called a father in any sense? Okay, that's my question.
Your question is about the use of the term father.
Yes.
Okay. What is father? What does father mean to you?
In Deuteronomy 32, verse 6, which is in the Torah, Moses referred to him as a father, and he said, Is he not your father and creator?" So the term father, which is also mean he created us, so therefore he is our father. Does that make sense? So in that sense that he created us and he is our father.
So you're basically saying that the term father has to do with him being the creator.
Yeah, he created us.
So I mean, we agree with you there. We
Okay,
agree with
so
you.
can he be a father?
Wait. We agree with you in the sense that he is the creator.
So
God
I
is
like
the
it.
creator.
So
God is
I
the
like
God is
sorry
the let me you
sorry to
spoke
cut
for
you
a
off.
couple minutes. I'm
Sorry,
just
go ahead.
beginning to answer and you're starting to. I'm not going to say what you want me to say. That's what you're trying to get me to do. You want me to say to agree with you. I told you that we agree with the concept of God being the creator, the originator of everything in existence. That we agree with. But we don't say that this means that he's the father or that he's our father. Those are two separate words with very distinct meanings for a reason. And so for that reason, we cannot agree that he is the father. So this is
Okay.
why I asked you, what to you is a father? And you said you likened the word father to creator. But that's not what the word father means. The word father does not mean. The word father is someone who begets, someone that has offspring that come about reproduction with another individual, with the female, if you're a male, with a female person, human being. So this is what a father is. If you ask me who my father is, I can tell you by name who my father is, and obviously like I can say who my mother is. That to me is a father. Why? Because I am literally his offspring. That's what a father is. The creator is not my father.
Okay. Sorry, that didn't really answer my question. My question really was, should, since it's confirming the Torah and the gospel, according to 3:3, should
No, you asked the question about father, and I
yeah,
explained to you why
yeah.
we don't
No, here, let me
subscribe to the idea that God is a father. Now, if you want to say that this is in a symbolic sense, okay. I
okay,
mean,
so
I don't agree with it, but I mean, I can kind of, but to say that he's the literal father of all of humanity, no, of course not. So,
here's the thing though. It can't be that, oh yeah, if you're talking about father in the sense, there's no sense that you can call God Father. But now going back to my question is, since the Quran is confirming the Torah and the Injil, should it align with them? Because in the Torah, Moses addresses God as our Father and Creator. Should it agree with that or no?
yes, but is this usage of the word father, is it symbolic or is it literal?
It really doesn't matter because you can't call him in symbolic any sense. That's pretty clear that you can only come to him as a servant. That's what the
so
Quran says.
so me, I don't believe that everything in previously revealed scripture is going to be consistent with the Quran, because I told you, I know, for example, there are certain laws, right? There were certain messages that were specifically brought down to the people of that time who were Jews, for example. There are certain laws that came for them and that are not necessarily applicable today.
Okay.
So for me, when you ask that question, no. But
Okay.
should so those and other certain things, there's certain laws like in Leviticus and stuff like that that I don't necessarily feel are applicable today. But should the central tenets, should especially like the foundational things like about God, who God is, Mosaic law such as the Ten Commandments, are those things consistent? Yes, of course they are. And are they
Okay.
still applicable? Yes.
Okay. So this should be applicable
But
because
even Christians believe this, right?
believe what?
Christians will tell you that, oh, it's because there's this new covenant, so we can eat pork because it's not
Yeah.
unclean
Yeah.
because blah 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 blah. Even
No, I
Christians,
understand that. Let me answer to your point before you make another one. I understand that, there is time. I mean, law for a time, right? And then it's no longer applicable. But we also have to agree that the message should be the same. And the message, which Christianity brought,
which
which
message?
that God is our Father and our Creator. That's the message. Should it align with that message? Should the Quran align with that message?
So
Yes or no?
so
And then you expand, please.
so if you
Yes or no? And then you expand, please.
no, because you're asking me to answer something that, because like I said, I know what you're trying to get at, and I literally explained to you that I don't feel that everything is going to be consistent, because I don't think that things revealed before are applicable to people today.
Okay, does it mean that what was revealed before is corrupted?
So no, I'm not
Okay.
saying that. What I'm saying is, and I've said this before, but you're acting like I haven't clarified this. What I said is there are certain laws that were brought down at specific time for specific people. And I also even mentioned, for example, that certain laws came that were supposed to be applicable for Jewish people, for Jews at that time. So, if you, for example, looked at some of the things that it says about, like, for example, when a woman gets raped and what a man should do after a woman rapes her, and like, such as like paying 50 shekels, do you still believe in this? Do you think this is still applicable today and
Okay.
consistent with
Here,
Christianity today?
here, you're trying to shift to Christianity so bad. I can see that, right? Let's
No, because
hold on.
no, because
Let
it's a
me
fair
finish.
question. It's a fair
No,
question because
let me
the
finish. Let
same
me finish,
no,
please.
because the same things that you are asking me, I can also flip to you and ask you if you
Yeah,
believe those things as well.
yeah. Here's the thing, though. Law and what God is two different things. Like, oh, you should do this. You should eat pork. You shouldn't eat pork. That's two different things from saying God is our Father and our Creator. We're talking about in the sense of what God is. Should the message stay the same? And then we can go, if you want, we're going to talk about Trinity, all of that later. I just want to know, should the message that Muhammad brings, since it's confirming the Torah and the gospel, should they all align
What
in
we as
terms
Muslim,
of the
and
message?
what I am telling you is that the what's in the Quran, this is the final message to humanity.
Okay.
That's what I'm telling you.
They
Now,
shouldn't align?
you can determine whether it aligns or doesn't align. I'll let you determine that. But
Okay. That's not really being fair to host.
what I am affirming as a Muslim, I have a question for you. Did you hear what I said? I said the Quran is the final revelation and final message that was brought to the entire of humanity. Why would
I
I then,
understand that.
wait 1 second, why would I then go to scriptures that were revealed thousands of years ago, way before, to try to follow that?
Because,
I'm gonna go
can
with
I
the
answer?
final I'm gonna go with the final message. I'm gonna go with the
Can I
final
answer?
message. I'm not gonna go with the message that was revealed to a society in which I don't live anymore. Where things were
Can I
happening
answer?
that where it's not my current present reality anymore.
Okay, can I answer now?
Go ahead.
The reason why is because the previous scripture are what you should use to confirm the revelation according to 1094. If you have doubt in what we have revealed to you, go and ask those who have been reading the scriptures before you. Right? That's the reason why this is very important. Because now if we're talking about doctrine and then we go and ask, oh, is God the Father? And then they say no, and then you come and say God is not the Father, then
You're
that will make you
you're
fall.
stuck on the God is the Father thing, but do you
Because you're
equal
not answering me. You're not answering me.
but do you equally apply that to every single thing, not just this one point that you're making out of like hundreds of things
No, here
that
it
were
will be very
previously
simple.
revealed in previous scripture? You're only choosing to focus on this one specific thing, and
Yeah,
it's not
here's why.
one
Here's why.
specific thing. So
Uh,
do you apply this same logic that you are asking about the this use of the term father? This same logic that you are using, do you apply it to everything in previously revealed scriptures, or you just want to apply it to this
here's
one
why.
thing, to this one
Uh,
concept, to this one
here's the thing.
aspect?
I'm talking about the doctrine, not the law. The difference is saying you should do this and saying this is who he is. Who he is shouldn't change. You believe that God doesn't change, right? Does God change?
I don't believe God changes.
Okay, so if he doesn't change it, he who he is should stay the same in all revelation, right?
It should be consistent.
Okay, it should be consistent. Now that,
But you're talking about his identity.
yeah,
So we're talking
exactly.
about his
God's
identity.
identity,
We're
God's
talking about his
identity
identity
shouldn't
being
change.
consistent.
Yeah, his identity shouldn't change. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so laws can change. I agree with that, right? Like, the Jews couldn't eat pork. Now you can eat pork. That's different. Like what you should do, what you shouldn't do, that can change. But God's identity should stay the same because he doesn't change. And if he was father, the reason why I keep bringing it up because that's very, very important. Yeah, the reason why it shouldn't change if he is father, would you expect it to stay the same in all revelation?
I think God,
Yes or no, please.
the
And then you
con
can expound.
the concept of God should be consistent. Yes.
Okay. So now here's the whole dilemma. Since it doesn't align with the concept of God in the previous scripture, would that make the new revelation false?
So what doesn't align?
God being a father.
So is God triune?
That's not answering my question. Please answer my
No,
question.
but it's
Just
the
answer this one. Just answer this one.
it's the same issue. It's the
No,
same issue.
no, here's the thing. Just
Yes,
answer
because
this one. Just
we're
answer
talking
this one and
about
then we're
no, no,
gonna
no.
talk about
We're
Trinity.
talking about the identity of God. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
So
whether you whatever terminology you want to ascribe, that is part of the identity,
okay, let's just answer
right?
this one, and
If
then
you are talking about, for example, God being different persons, that's also part of identity.
yeah. So
So
just answer this one, and
it's
then we're
the
gonna talk
same
about that, please.
it's the same question. I
Yeah.
don't believe God is the father. I don't
Okay.
believe he is a literal father. You're not going to get me to agree to that. I
No, I'm
already
not
told you.
trying. Yeah. Look, you already consider that his identity shouldn't change. All I'm asking is, since the new scriptures shows a different identity,
No, it
would
doesn't show a
that?
different identity. It doesn't show a different identity. You are choosing to focus on this one thing.
No, I
I
got
think
one
so. For
last question,
example,
and then we
I'll
can
give you
talk
an
about
example,
Trinity.
right? I'll give you an example. God in biblical scripture is referred to as a merciful God. God is referred to as a just God. God is referred. Now, whether the scripture actually confirms this or proves this, that's a different story. But
Okay.
God is referred to as all-knowing. He's referred to as all-powerful. He's referred to as having mercy. He's referred to as being, a loving God. All this, right?
Yeah, that
And
shouldn't change, right?
other attributes as well. That is
Okay.
still consistent. You are just choosing to focus on this one thing,
Yeah,
this
hold on.
one term that Muslims do not use. And
Here,
that's what you're choosing to focus. And
no,
you're
no.
going
Here's
based off
why.
of that. You're saying, oh, everything else, ignore everything else. This shows inconsistency. That's what you're
No,
saying.
here's why. Here's why. I agree that God is merciful, His love, and all that, right? Now, let me ask you, since in the case that, let's say, going with the Quran, someone says Allah is merciful, Allah is truth, but Allah is not all capable. Would you call that person false according to what you have? You're muted. You're muted, host.
And I know I was muted. I was a little bit busy. Of course, I would not accept this concept of God, because I do believe that He's. I do
Okay,
believe in
thank
that.
you.
I do believe in that attribute of His.
Thank you.
But again,
Now you have got the Islamic dilemma. Okay, now you can ask your question.